Hi there, you're watching Rand's Media, and today we'll be discussing the story of Sony PlayStation. PlayStation is a popular game console whose history begins in 1988, and it has made Sony the market leader in the console game space. The first PlayStation was rolled out in 1994. Let me also tell you that it's the first video game console to sell more than 100 million units. But how did Sony manage to score a home run on its first foray into the video game market? Watch this entire video to find out how Sony has been extremely successful with its PlayStation platform. But before we continue discussing the story behind this product, make sure you subscribe to Rand's Media. Also, don't forget to press the bell button so you are notified every time an interesting video is uploaded to this channel. PlayStation has been one of the most widely played game consoles ever released. Numerous people own a PlayStation, and even more people have played it. However, only a few people know how the system was created and how it impacted the gaming market. So let's take a closer look at the story behind PlayStation. Back in the year 1946, Sony began in a bombed-out department store in Tokyo, when an engineer named Masaru Obuka and a physicist named Akio Morita invested around £845 to start their company. At the time, video games were mostly targeted at children in the age group of 7 to 14, and players used to control the game characters like racing vehicles or fighting monsters on a television screen. Typically, a home video game system consisted of 3 components, including a game console, controllers, and cartridges. The first PS console was released in Japan on December 3, 1994. Here it is worth mentioning that Ken Kutaragi is considered the father of PlayStation since he oversaw the development of the original game console. Ken is the former chairman and CEO of SCEI, Sony's corporation's video game division. During the 1940s, the company was called Tokyo Tushin Kaigo, and the name was changed to Sony in 1958. The company's first foray into the video game market was in 1988 when it partnered with Nintendo. The two companies were working on a joint project to manufacture a CD-ROM drive for the new Super Falcom, which was yet to be released. In 1991, working prototypes were created and debuted at the Consumer Electronics Show. However, Nintendo dissolved the partnership one day after the show and chose to partner with Philips. Norio Ogai was president of Sony at the time, and he was furious at the termination of the deal between Sony and Nintendo. He got Ken to develop the PS project to compete against Nintendo. Then, in 1993, the company formed Sony Computer Entertainment Inc. After demonstrating the company's distribution plan and its tech demos of the new game console to developers and game publishers in Tokyo back in 1994, several developers approached Sony. In December 1994, the PlayStation was eventually released in Japan, and it rolled out in North America in September 1995. It became popular due to its superior launch titles and relative cheapness when compared to Sega Saturn. Nearly 8,000 games were released for the PlayStation. The company released the PS2 in 2000, which is the most successful home console in history. Although it seemed almost absurd that Sony was joining the console wars against Nintendo and Sega during the mid-1990s, it is impossible now to imagine the scene without the company. Currently, Ken is the CEO of Cyber AI Entertainment. In 2007, Ken departed Sony before the PS4 was rolled out. In 2019, the company announced that it would launch PS5, and it rolled out on November 12, 2020. Initially, Sony released it in New Zealand, North America, South Korea, Australia, Japan, and Singapore. Later, on November 19, 2020, Sony released it on other major markets except India and China. Let me also tell you that the PS5 is considered the biggest console launch in history. Sony has said that it surpasses the 2-week sales record set by the PS4. Here, it is worth mentioning that the PS4 sold 2.1 million units in just over 2 weeks. The new PS5 is a powerful game console with extremely fast load times and an incredible controller. The company has been extremely successful with PlayStation and has crafted a compelling customer value proposition for gamers, as well as game developers. PlayStation employs a specific 2-sided platform business model, and its 2 essential sides are players and developers of games. The company decided to subsidize the side of players heavily by adopting the razor and blades business model in order to avoid a chicken and egg problem. Sony had set the price of the game console below its cost to boost its sales. The company was effectively selling the game consoles to build a critical consumer mass. Sony had planned to reap benefits at a later stage by selling games. If you want to build a successful business, this strategy might be helpful for you. While the company was selling consoles at low prices, Sony was also building its position among developers thanks to the strong application programming interface lack of strict rules and regulations with regard to the quality of developed games, and software development kit (SDK). As a result, the Japanese company was able to build a strong two-sided platform with compelling direct as well as indirect network effects. Sony has been extremely successful in monetizing the consumers via the hefty royalty fees from the game units sold to customers. But there were two problems that cast a shadow over the PlayStation business model. Firstly, it was clear to the company that it was leaving a huge amount of money on the table since only a few blockbuster games made a substantial following among players across the globe. On the other hand, thousands of games were not properly monetized. Secondly, the advent of gaming models like social media games such as Rovio and Zigna, or streaming cloud platforms such as OnLive and Valve Steam, and the bold moves of Microsoft were putting pressure on Sony to revise the business model. In response, the Japanese company introduced the PlayStation Now service, which is a $15 per month subscription. The subscription allows the owners of PlayStation 4 to play PlayStation 3 games from the cloud without any backward capability issues. Here, it is worth mentioning that the subscription model is an example of the bundling business model. We all know that not all games are equally popular among players, right? However, the availability of top-notch titles would encourage gamers to buy a subscription. Let me tell you that the less popular titles are bundled together with top-notch games. Moreover, the subscription model allows the company to starve off competition from other game system providers. Undoubtedly, the story of Sony's PlayStation is amazing, and we can learn a lot from this story. It has entirely changed the video game console market. I hope you liked this video about the incredible story of PlayStation. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Lastly, tell us in the comments below what you learned from this story. We'll see you in the next video. Bye!